Hello everyone, good day. Welcome to our lesson 3. We have nature, forms, and consequences of power. I have already sent this to your Quipper account, and I guess you have downloaded it already and read it already. So, this is just a supplement if you don't if naamoy mga wala na sabtan dito sa kini downloaded na study guide. So we have here power. According to Dahl, he defined power in society as what? The ability of a person or an institution A to make a person B or an institution B do something that ang person B or ang institution B, his, her, or its own would not do. That's the power. Okay. In addition, in society, there are different forms of power, from authoritative power to economic power. There are so many ways which power can be expressed by individuals or institutions. Okay. The extent of the consequences of power is dependent upon the different ways, ang different degree, and the aims by which power is expressed in society. For instance, political power in a state is exercised by the government. Through this power, the government is able to create and enact laws that promote peace and order in the society and also influence various processes such as those affecting the economy for the benefits of its constituents as well. Okay. Next. In their attempt to classify better understand the power, si Barnett and Duval nag-create sila of the taxonomy of power with 4 major types. What are those 4 major types? We have compulsory power, institutional power, structural power, and productive power. Okay. We have here compulsory power. When we say compulsory power daw, it is the direct control of one actor of the conditions and actions of another. Pasabot diri, we say compulsory power, it's the direct control. Pasabot siya, it's kanang duol ang iyang control sa iyang constituents. Next, we have here institutional power. When we say institutional power, it is the direct ways in which the actors affects one another. Katong ganina, direct ways lang siya. Ang karon, ang direct ways, tapos it affects another. So an example of this is the use of rules or the law para maka-impose og order. Okay, next. We have here structural power. Basically, looks at the opposition and the roles of various actors in relation to each other. Example, are coach to player, boss to worker, or captain to crew relationships where the position of each player toward another provides them roles and responsibilities that they play even without one coercing with the other. So when say structural power, it varies upon the structure or the form of the position. So for example here, gikan sa coach and the player. So yun ana siya ang power dira. Boss hantod sa worker, captain to crew relationship. So yun ana siya. Teacher to student. So next, when we say productive power, it is similar actually to the structural power that looks into the relative position of the actors, the social production of their roles, and how the roles affects the actor's perception and actions. Pero ang kalahian niya, however, ang productive power naga-focus siya not on the direct structures provided and accepted by each actor, pero on the discourse between the actors which power is negotiated. Okay, next. According to Aristotle, in his Politics, There are situations where power in the government is corrupted by the personal and selfish goals of individuals. Because of these egoistic goals, individuals pursue laws and intervene with social services to achieve personal rather than communal gains. So, yun ana siya. Because of this power daw, ang mga situations where power, nawala na good, gina-abuse na ang power, gina-corrupt na ang power, kani tungod ani nga egoistic goals, ang kasagaran tao mo intervene na lang sa government with social services para makagain sila og ilang personal goals rather than makakuha sila og communal gains. So that's according to Aristotle. Okay. There are other classifications of power. We have here 6 examples of classifications of power. First is coercive power. Next, expert power, power of reward, power, referent power, legitimate power, and purchasing power. Okay, let us define each classification. When we say coercive power, it is the ability of a manager to force an employee to follow an order by threatening the employee with punishment if the employee does not comply with the order. So, it's the ability of a manager to force. Pugso niya ang mga employee para mo follow sa iyang order and nagagamit siya threatening, gina-threat niya ang employee with punishment. If the employee dili siya makakomply sa iyahang order. That's what we call coercive power. Next is expert power. When we say expert power, dali lang ni siya. Defined as the use of perception of or the expert knowledge to get subordinate to follow an instruction of order. Here, ang power comes from the subordinate's belief that their manager, leader possesses expert skill or knowledge that they do not themselves possess. So if ikaw nga pagkatao, you have this quality of knowledge, you have this kanang field of expertise, makita sa mga imong constituents or makita sa imong mga tao na you are expert of that field. So of course, automatically taas na ilang tanaw sa imo. That's what we call expert power. Like for example, sa teacher and student relationship. So kung ang isa ka teacher, expert na siya sa iyang ginakuan, syempre ang mga estudyante, they have this kanang thinking nga mutuod jud sila sa ilang teacher because teacher is an expert sa iyang ana siya in their kung makita nila nga ang ilang teacher is how jud expert jud knowledgeable anang subject, so possible ang mga estudyante mo respeto jud sa iyang teacher and of course mutuo sila sa iyang teacher. That's what we call expert power. Next is what we call power of reward. Katong ganina, it defines as the use of rewards to get an employee to follow an instruction order. With power comes an ability to withhold the reward for non-compliance. So ganina, kung ang coercive power kuan siya og punishment, ang kani nagahatag siya og reward. That's the use of power of reward. So nagahatag siya reward, so kinsa ang makauna og buhat ani nga trabaho, kinsa ang una maka-comply ani nga mga task, maghatag siya reward. That's what we call power of reward. Next is referent power. When we say referent power referent power, it is a form of revenge, gained by the leader who has strong interpersonal relationship skills. Ang referent power as an aspect of personal power becomes particularly important as organizational leadership becomes increasingly about collaboration and influence rather than the command and control. When we say referent power, it's the kanang hawd ka mo dala og tao, you have this strong interpersonal skills. That's what we call referent power. Okay. When you say legitimate power naman, it's power you derive from your formal position or office held in the organization's hierarchy or of authority. Example ani is kanang president of our corporation has certain power because of the office he holds in the corporation. So for example, kana sa isa ka particular nga institution, syempre, since ikaw ang CEO dira or ikaw ang president CEO dira nga particular company, you have this power because sa imong positions anang kumpanya. That's what we call legitimate power. Kuha. Next, purchasing power is the amount of goods and services that can be purchased with a unit of currency. For example, kani, if one had taken 1 unit of currency in the store of 1950s, gikan pa atong 1950s, it would have been possible to buy a greater number of items than would be the case today, indicating that the currency had greater purchasing power in the 1950s. So kung magdala ta og 100 sa kwarta nato karon during the 1950s, syempre daghan tag mapalit because lahi man to ang currency ato nga time. So kung ginaingon ko sa atong mga or sa atong mga lola nga sa unang panahon kung bisag na sila 7 nga kwarta, so daghan na sila mapalit ana. So that's what we call purchasing power. Okay, I think that's the end of this slide for the lesson 3. So see you for the discussion for the next lesson. So bye everyone.